Yes, Mayday.
Alex?
We got a couple questions for you here,
Okay. What about?
So, it's all about the AOB album. So first of all, what is that?
You know what it is, because you said what it stands for Awful Lotta Birmingham. Basically, project was, I was already working with Barry the Man and we were building like horizontally. So I thought, boom, project together, start with a few tracks and then boom, AOB's a thing.
So if your album was a landscape, what would it look like?
I mean, I'd say it's like it's kind of dark outside, but it's Brumming it's like, it sounds like, it's like authentic 0121, you get me?
We like it. Can you walk us through the theme or the concept of your album?
Okay, as I walk, I'm gonna walk over there and send the coffee. But cool. So the whole thing was, as I just said, it was making it about Brumming like there's a lot of talent. The man never cool. And I had a big focus this year on collaborating with whatever anyway. So the plan was to do all of that, put it together, and then we had a project. So that's kind of what it is really, in a nutshell. Like it just is Birmingham. For me, it's like a timestamp. Like when you look back in 5, 8, 12 years, whatever, it's like this was like the start of anyone who's involved in the project or part of it or whatever was kind of like they were on this similar to kind of Mayhem, for me at least, similar to Mayhem's It's Peak from like 2012 or whatever. Because everyone who was on there was like, boom, they did something or was part of something or whatever. You get me?
So on the topic of looking back, if your past self from 5 years ago was to hear this album, what would they say?
They say it got better, because 5 years ago it was terrible, I can't even lie. But like, as you do something more, you get better at the thing, innit? Cool. Yeah, I think it was impressive because when I first got involved in the city and whatever, it was kind of like, lonely for lack of a better term, because I didn't know anyone, so I'd just go to events, swing from event to event, 4 events in the evening, jump around and I'm Mayday, and that was kind of how I networked and whatever. So going from then to this now, it's like, okay, it came a long way, especially both as an artist and then just kind of collaboratively and whatever's going on in the city. Hence the ALB being the big like theme, if that makes sense.
So what are your hopes for the album's impact?
I think I pretty much just said it. I think it's one of those where it will age well and you look back in time and it's like, oh, this was definitely the start of something back then. So like metric goals and whatever, it's like, I don't know, maybe the music won't find its audience, or I don't push it enough, or I push it too much in one way, like whatever can happen, but it don't really matter. So there's no expectation per se, just like the music's here, safe. Especially like as a timestamp to look back, you get me?
We like it, man. So have you ever thought about scrapping a full song off the album?
Well, like when I was making it?
Yeah.
There was ideas, like I had, like, you know when you have an idea, or like we're shooting a video, and like we have the idea, but then the execution is just not there. I think, let me think of the track, 1, 2. There wasn't any I would change, but I think there was a good, so a lot of people want to hear it, they make a lot of music for like, oh yeah, I made 800 songs to choose 13 for the project or whatever. For me, it wasn't that many, because I don't like to waste resources, time and energy. Brown sugar is also not my personal choice, by the way. But I wouldn't say there's anything I scrapped. That's an awful lot of sugar, pun intended. I wouldn't say there was anything I scrapped. I think it was just more like, it didn't make sense at the time. And most of those, I would say, were single songs. Like if I could like, collaborated, like Zarias, Trappy, RG, whatever, it kind of made it to the project because, again, that was the whole point, you know what I'm saying?
Were there any happy accidents?
A big spoon for this, sorry, big spoon for this espresso, carry on.
Were there any happy accidents when dealing with it?
Happy accidents while like in the creation?
Yeah, in the album. In the making.
I think when you record, like a lot, because I record from home, a lot of the ideas I record at home, they're whether I cough or like there's a tone in my voice or whatever, it will kind of sit, and I think it makes the song sound better overall. So there's things like that. And then I was very persistent at getting the collaborations down, and I would make it easy for whoever it was to get it done. But in some cases, it wasn't necessarily a happy accident, it was just as a product of the work, that's kind of how it happened.
Right, going back to the album then, is there anybody on there who isn't that you'd have liked for any reason?
Now, you know me, I like to work fast, but for this, it was more like, okay, cool, who's doing something, who did I originally want on there? Me and T-Roads originally, but then he got very visible, so if he was doing TPY, should have ideally also been on there, but again, he was doing stuff. And to be fair, the fact I managed to pull all of these people together, even with how persistent I was, to me is still are mad because it's like what, not including me, it's probably over 10, 11 MCs on there, plus producers and whatever. It's a lot. So T-Rhodes, I did it would have been on the original. So is TPY. I had something else with someone. The name escapes me at the moment. But I think a good example of what that ended up being was Awful JBL, because like there's 9 of us on there. So I would have liked a bit more collaborative as just like Mayday plus one person, but with time in it. So that's kind of where I would say that is.
Maybe in the future then.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
So if the album were the last piece of music you ever made, what message would you want to leave behind?
It's an awful lot of Birmingham, that's what it is. Because the thing is, everyone's like, yeah, you made this. I was like, yeah, even though I made it, because you're a creator or a podcaster or an athlete or whatever it is, because you're from Birmingham and you just do it, that's all ALB is, and it's like anyone who's doing anything sort of thing as an awful lot of Birmingham, you're from here, you're doing an awful lot of what you're doing, and that's really it. So if this was, hopefully it's not, pretty sure it's not, but if this was the last piece, it's like, okay, cool, this was a lot of Birmingham right now, and this is what grime and Birmingham sounds like currently. And ideally, like I said, hopefully, I'm quite confident it will age well as well, especially with tracks like Construction. Like sonically, that's where the sound will go in a few years and all that, so we'll see how it goes, but probably that.
We like the plans, man, we like the plan. So it's a mad question from this one. Brown sugar in coffee is crazy.
Brown sugar and tea, but coffee.
Coffee is crazy. It's an interesting question though. I'm interested to hear how you're going to answer. How would you describe this album to someone who couldn't hear it?
So what, like they're listening in Braille? Raw.
Braille, you know.
No, I mean, I don't speak BSL either. I don't speak British Sign Language. I think it's definitely authentic. I think you can hear, especially like when we shot the overall video, like you saw at the shoot, everyone like we knew each other's lyrics, the energy was there. So I think if you were listening to it and you were blind, first of all, thanks. But second of all, it's a collaborative effort, even though it's my project and I put the name on it and all of that good business. Like I said, the ALB brand or term or whatever extends way beyond what I've done and then what everyone else is doing. So probably cohesive, I guess, if I had to put a word in it.
It's another mad question. The next one is, if aliens were to get their hands on the ALB album, shout out Birmingham, what impression do you hope they would get on humanity?
Man said alien lot of Birmingham. First of all, if they get their hands on a copy, that's very good because there's not many CDs that are printed for that. I think, again, it's like, if you listen to me at least, if you listen to Mayhem to Beacon from back then, it's like, that's what grime sounded like sonically and all of that stuff back then. For me, ALB is like, it's kind of like, that's what's going on now. So I think once the aliens get their hands on it, they're like, raw, this is cold. But it's definitely like a timestamp of the period. So, and then in another 5 years, when they look back, like, oh, back then this was like, yeah, this was it. So, big up you aliens. And
so, everyone who knows Mayday,
never again, bro.
Don't do brown sugar again. That's so mad.
True.
So everyone who knows Mayday knows you've done a lot of music so far.
True.
But how does this album differ from your previous work?
Is that like music in general or is it like projects? There is an awful lot of projects. I think because making music is fun, innit? But I think with this specifically at the start of when I decided to make it, I was very like, yo, let's build horizontally, be a lot more collaborative, focused. So I think this, you'll hear the fun that collectively we had making a project. And I actually got a few people saying this, the way it was sequenced from the first to the end track was really well, considering that quite a few of these songs had ended up dropping as singles as well. Like you have to essentially listen to it top to bottom to kind of get a full feel for it. So I think the sequencing was great, the production's the best I've ever done. Not me personally, but people I've worked with, Dubsco, Offkey, Luke, etc. So yeah, I think so far, right now, this is the best I've made. But that just means the next thing I do has to make this look bad by comparison, just so we keep going, you know what I mean? And it's not a linear line, but it's like, you keep it in there, you know what I'm saying?
Sick. If this album were a movie, it's a little two-piece,
Okay.
what genre would it be? And what movie would it be?
I mean, what's that film? We had One Day, we had One Day back in the day, so there was that. I think it would definitely be an action film, because you've got like the energy from like Awful JBL, or Construction, or Bleach. But then within that, you also have the storytelling element of like, what's me and Vante, put the trap in. Even the first tune, Live is to 5 Things, like that's like I used to work in a warehouse in Birmingham, and bro, there was long double Christmas shifts, whatever. And then we made 5 figs, and then a little 6 figs and all of it. So there's storytelling elements of it. So I'd assume it'd probably be an action film, but it would definitely want to be like those slow burners. I don't think there'd be a mad twist involved in it. I think you just touch on what you get what you see. You know what I'm saying? I think anyway. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes, man.
If we make a documentary, then that's in your hands, innit?
Future planning, future planning.
We'll see.
But listen, 2 quick personal questions before we get off.
Okay, great.
What is your favourite song on the album, Mayday?
The reason I say construction, I don't know, man. Because construction is like, when I spoke to Afki, I was like, Afki, we need to like push the sound that way. It's like, okay, cool. So you push the sound that way and you see. But then it's like, you've heard 04JBO, and you've heard like every person I spoke to, and they're like, yo, so-and-so's verse is the best, or oh, his verse is the best. And I think that is at least both on ALB and recent memory in general, I think that's the most like collaborative, and that's just the essence of like, you got 8 bars, say your thing, be the best on the tune, and yeah, so I would say it would be, a tussle between 04JBL and construction. But when I perform them both and whatever, 04JBL, just after pure energy, connects way more than construction in it. But I think I prefer listening to construction as a song because I am a fan of what Afki did production-wise.
Fair play. And now, last question. Final round. What's afterwards for Mayday?
2 words, deluxe.